Well, hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thanks for joining me. I recently did a presentation to our Bigfoot Zoom group, which is a group of people interested in sharing and discussing Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and cryptid encounters. I gave them a presentation about some recent connections I've been able to make through the research of the MFMP Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project about blue mists showing up during cold fusion LENR experiments, blue mists being seen around Bigfoot, Sasquatch activity, and the blue shifts that are seen around many UFO sightings, which Dr. Hal Puthoff talked about a few years ago, and I made a video about it. Not to mention blue orbs. I gave them a presentation about some of these connections. I thought you'd enjoy seeing it. So here's the presentation from a few weeks ago. Enjoy, and we'll talk to you soon. Bob Greenyer went to Japan to look at the artifacts of Takaaki Matsumoto and his books and things. And Bob said it's just a huge amount of videos and books and things he's never seen about cold fusion from the 90s. So one of the videotapes was from this cold fusion day at MIT in 1995, all the videos of that conference, which we've never seen. It was right before the internet, and it just got lost. So one of them was this researcher, James L. Griggs, who was looking at cavitation as a way of producing excess heat. He's this engineer that found if you get that water hammer effect, you also get a lot of heat. And when they did some measurements, they were getting more heat in than you could explain from the motion of the water. But that was just the beginning. They had these huge aluminum rotors in this device, this pump, and it ended up getting the same metal defects as John Hutchinson from Canada with the Hutchinson metals. And what everyone else has found around cold fusion LENR is that you have a hole starting on one side and then the metal, and it emerges on the other side without any clear idea of how something could go through. We're not talking about real high temperatures here. We're talking about a water pump. There's no combustion going on. Yeah. And let me show you one of these photos. So Bob was looking at this, and one of the things that came up was a blue mist that came out of the steam. Just give me one second. This is really interesting. The fabled blue mist we have heard about this before, guys. You're going to see where this is going in a second. So here it is. This is James L. Griggs showing this blue steam coming out of their water pump, where they believed that this cavitation. This is 1995, guys. I didn't even know about remote viewing in 1995. This is how far back we're going. We're going into prehistory here. So he found the steam had a blue tint to it. So this is really interesting, because why would water have a blue tint? So this is James L. Griggs here. He's just showing, as an engineer, he couldn't get Georgia Institute for Tech interested because they said, we don't understand the science, how you could get excess heat from water. But it's this cavitation effect of sonoluminescence, where you have vibration, sound going out in water, creates bubbles. And then when they collapse, you seem to be getting more energy out than from the sound waves. And I did hear in Boulder about 8 years ago, Mark Leclerc gave a presentation about water cavitation, and he said they had nucleonic elements arising that were not in the original water at room temperature, just from shaking it up a lot, which is like room temperature alchemy. And Mark, the proof that this works is the sad fact that Mark Leclerc and his partner got cancer from this device, which shows that it's emitting strange radiation. Both of them got it. And we know from the work of the Russian researchers that you have to be very careful around water cavitation devices because they emit strange radiation. And they can make you feel really sick or cause cancer, just like people feel around orbs and things on Skinwalker Ranch. So here James Griggs
That's
comes
kind of
along and says,
scary.
I don't care what the science is. Scientists tell me it's impossible, but I'm an engineer. And he got all these patents on it. And he published this. So this was in Takaaki Matsumoto's video collection that Bob transferred and put onto the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project channel. So Bob took this video and transferred it onto YouTube. So where else have we seen the blue mist? That's the question. Well, I think one of the places that we've also seen this blue mist is in the work of I.M. Shahkparanov, who described seeing a blue mist emerging from his his Mobius strip. Now, Shahkparanov is the Russian researcher that developed a Mobius strip Evo generator, and he developed, I'm going to show you the picture of this. He developed artificial ball lightning from his Mobius strip. Remember the Mobius strip, Jules? It's like where you take a loop of paper, but you flip it over so that one half goes to the other side. Take a look
I
at this.
do.
And I'm going to share the Mobius strip here. So this is Shahkparanov's Mobius strip generator, which replicated Hutchinson and all the other LENR effects in a lab. So this dispels the idea that you can't create laboratory ball lightning. And the interesting thing here, Jules, is if you look in the lower right here, you see the black ball lightning, the invisible ball lightning, which is the zero. It's like an inverse ball lightning. It's like a negative image of ball lightning. It's totally black. It absorbs light like a dark matter type of ball lightning. It's a weird thing. So it does the opposite. It doesn't emit light. It absorbs it like an antimatter ball lightning. So Shahkparanov was able to generate both of these. Now, here's what I wanted to show you, which is really interesting. And then we're going to tie it back to Bigfoot in a second. First of all, Shahkparanov found that when you looked at the energy signature of his lab-produced ball lightning and ball lightning out in nature, it was the same. It was the same signature. And here is a picture of this. What he said was a pale blue color. Take a look at this. I'm going to share this next image because you're going to see where this is going in a second. I guess you can already guess. This is in his Mobius strip generator. There was a band of blue mist or blue color. And we're not talking about Cherenkov radiation, Bremsstrahlung radiation. That's from really high energy particles around nuclear power plants. This is at room temperature. So you get this blue, and then a green rays would emerge from the middle, and a blue here. Okay. So let me show you why this is so interesting. When I went to the Bigfoot Adventure weekend, let me one more thing. I went to ChatGPT to use AI to see where does blue mist originate. Blue steam is also seen around volcanoes, and it's thought to come from sulfur combustion and ionization associated with volcanic events. But those are at really high temperatures and high pressures, and it's possible that could be fusing of oxygen or some other LENR reaction going on. So when I went to the Bigfoot Adventure weekend, Jim Myers, and you can hear him on the Untold Radio Network on YouTube, they have different hosts on Bigfoot type of topics. I was just listening to Carter Bouchard this morning, who wrote Bigfoot Evidence of Enigma. He's from Missouri, volumes 1 and 2, of really strange things. And he's a BFRO investigator. Really strange phenomena around Bigfoot, including them disappearing in flashes of light and their ability to mimic your voice perfectly and things like this. So Jim Myers told us a story in the museum there. These guys came in from Pennsylvania. And they said, we never told this to anyone before, but we were out hunting and we heard this thing coming towards us that sounded like a tractor crashing through the woods. And it kept getting closer and closer. And we all had, spotter lights on our rifles. So at one point they just said, okay, boys, it was right there. They're all really scared. This huge sound crashing, boom, boom, boom through the woods. And they say, okay, boys, light them up. They raised their rifles with the flashlights, and the only thing there was blue mist. So we have a connection between the blue mist of Bigfoot to this cold fusion idea. I've also heard of this blue glow in that Rusty Wilson book. Where there's a blue glow coming from one of these Bigfoot, and these people run away from the boiling river where they're skinny dipping with the hot, these hot springs going into the river, and they run back to their car and they can't start the car. And the thing with the blue light, they said blue light was coming in. Anyway, we're looking for a science behind all this, and I think this is a very interesting connection to it. But there's one more thing. One more thing here, which makes this really interesting. You'll remember that a number of years ago, I went to the SSC IRVA meeting in Las Vegas, where Hal Puthoff was like the lead speaker on ATIP, OSAP. It was like still new at the time, and he gave us the rundown. The blue shift from Hal. Remember, he talked about metamaterials and space-time metric engineering, why UFOs look blue. So we got this blue mist associated with Bigfoot. We got blue mist associated with cold fusion LENR reactions, thanks to Bob going over to Tokyo this week, or Japan. Sapporo, I believe, Hokkaido, where Matsumoto lived, till he passed away a couple of weeks ago. Bob met with him in March while he was still alive. And they're going through all his books and videos right now, which Bob says is just a huge collection of amazing cold fusion type stuff. And he finds this video about the blue mist from the cavitation experiments, which we know is a type of sound-induced LENR, right? Which we think is one way that Bigfoot, Sasquatch could be doing what they do, is through vibration and sound. Coherent sound. If you look up coherent sound, you'll find it's not like lasers. You can't polarize sound, but you can stack the amplitudes on top of each other till it's really loud, which sounds an awful lot like our friend Sasquatch. So in any case, Hal said that the reason UFOs and like things like that look blue orbs is because they're shifted to a faster speed of light, because the metamaterials are creating oscillating permittivity. The one of the factors that determines speed of light, it's speed of light equals 1/√of permittivity by permeability. So if you change the permittivity, speed of light would change, and Einstein even admitted this could happen in 1907, 1911, but the idea wasn't popular back then, and he dropped it. So we have a connection now between the UFO blue shift all the way back to Bigfoot, all the way back to LENR. I think that's pretty cool. It's a lot of blue on a blue planet. Any case, that is the blue connection to blue. Orbs are blue. I think we got something going here with this cavitation to oscillating permittivity. And then the real cool thing. Okay, so Shahkparanov, a lot of people said you can't create ball lightning in the lab, can't create ball. Forget John Hutchinson, and others who've created this. Well, Shahkparanov found that the wavelength of ball lightning was the same in natural places as his lab. So that looks like the same to me. So guess what, Jules? One more cool thing. It's like Steve Jobs used to say, and there's one more thing. Shahkparanov was the one who said that they couldn't take pictures of their ball lightning because it was blurry, because the permittivity was oscillating, which would fit with the Hal Puthoff idea of changing the permittivity shifts to blue. And Shahkparanov said that the ball lightning, it's not constant speed of light because the permittivity is shifting. So it's always blurry. It's like a double diffraction, like when you put a straw into a glass of water, it looks bent. Okay, well, imagine if it was just doing this back and forth really fast, it would look blurry. So Shahkparanov is the one who argued that certain objects are inherently blurry. You can't take good photos of them. Does that? And one more thing. There's even one more cool thing, Jules, if this isn't enough. And thanks for indulging me
Just
here.
one more.
Shahkparanov said when you get these magnetic monopoles, which are associated with ball lightning and Dirac materials, the room got chilly. It lowered the temperature of the lab. And anything it came in contact with got cold. Now, how many times have we heard? I know you didn't experience it, Jules, on that hot summer day in Marionsville. But how many times have you heard people say, I've talked to people who've said this, not only did it get suddenly quiet, it got cold.
Yes.
Yup. You've heard this around UFO sightings and ghosts and Bigfoot. People said it was a warm July night and all of a sudden it got really cold. And then this fog came in. Magnetic monopoles. It's right at the bottom of this paper, I think. He has, yeah, it's right here. He talks about temperature changes in one of these patents. I saw it. I was reading through this. I almost fell out of my chair. These magnetic monopoles. Cool. Oh, here it is. On the role of Kozyrev Dirac radiation. This is the strange radiation that gives people cancer, so you want to be careful with this. And I've seen people from the skin. When I went to Phenomicon last summer, they had this woman from Blind Frog Ranch just north of Skinwalker Ranch. She said she saw an orb through the window of the car and went out and got sick and went back in the car and felt nauseous and everything. Okay, that's strange radiation. But look right here. Koziak Dirac radiation cools a substance that interacts with it. I rest my case. We got everything we need here to show that Bigfoot's a type of magnetic. We got cooling, we got the blue mist, and we got the same type of freaky deaky weird feelings that people get around it. Sometimes they feel a little nauseous, and the battery electronics failure, which we know is associated with magnetic monopoles, by the way, are magnets with no north and south. It's more like you can just turn it up or down magnetism with no direction, no north or south direction like magnets. It's never actually been really created in a lab for very long, but it's temporary magnetic monopoles, not permanent. Anyway, that's what you get from a Mobius strip. Your good old MC Escher books. Right here. You can see it right in the center. Okay, Jules. It's a lot of cool connections here back to Bigfoot with some science here. I'm going with magnetic monopoles here and ball lightning related types of matter. That's why I was just mentioning, Jules, before you came on, I was listening to the Untold Radio Network with a guy that started Monster Quest, Doug Hychek, and his son.
Yeah.
He and his son have this. They're on that network, and so is Jim Meyer sometimes. They were interviewing Carter Burchard, the Missouri researcher that's written 2 books, Bigfoot Evidence of Enigma, and the enigmas are these weird things that happen around Sasquatch. And one, he says, doesn't fit what we understand about reality. See him like disappear. He said the first weird thing ever happened to him is he was looking for some friends. The radio communication had suddenly died for some weird reason. And the Bigfoot came around the corner and it disappeared in a flash of light. Just everyone saw it. Poof, like a flash bulb going off. Here's one more picture of the James L. Griggs aluminum ring from the cavitator device. The weird thing about this is you had evidence of the melting of the aluminum and fusing, which shouldn't take place at 200 degrees Fahrenheit, which is what water boils at. It just you need 1200 degrees to get aluminum to melt, but I won't show you all the pictures here, but there's lots of evidence of it melting and fusing. And this is from 1995. I'm told that James L. Griggs passed away last year. So it was so weird seeing this video of this guy, just like it's from the MIT Cold Fusion Day in 1995. They were the super skeptics, but there were a couple people there that were into it, Peter Hagelstein and others. 1995, way before, Jules, was a year before I got involved with RV. I was a normal person back then with a PhD. And here they're doing this, and Bob finds this, and we find that James has already come and gone and passed away. He was older than us in 95. I don't know what age he was, and he's already gone from our Earth as we know it, but he left behind a great presentation from MIT Cold Fusion Day, which is really the link we were looking for with the blue mist and the blue shift.
Terribly interesting. You know, blue's always fascinated me, especially since it doesn't often occur in nature unless it's manufactured by using reflective things like in butterfly wings and all that stuff.
Thank you for mentioning that. The New Scientist had a whole article about how hard it is to make blue pigments.
Yes, it barely ever occurs.
You don't see it very much in nature. Yeah.
You know, for it to occur in the water.
Yeah.
In the mist, that is fascinating. And that it gives off strange radiation. Oh my God.
It does. Water cavitation gives off, and there is this guy from a Russian researcher, Dmitry. One more thing that even completes this to make it really good. Wait, let's stop my share here. Well, there was a guy, Dmitry, from Russia, who had this whole article about how sound waves can create this LENR effect. You know, we always thought of it like cold fusion, like you need chemicals and palladium, deuterium, and these high pressures and everything, but you can do it with sound, coherent sound. Yeah, let me bring this up. This exactly. It brings it all back to this. So this is observation of neutron emission during acoustic cavitation of deuterated titanium powder. It's in Nature Scientific Reports. Nature, just from last week. And what he says in here is that he shows these graphs of these incredible sound waves. Really loud. They kind of stack on each other. And they get really loud. And what else do we know who's really loud? Our friend Sasquatch. Dmitry Zamolov, Fomichev-Zamolov. He shows that you get this real intense acoustic effect from cavitation. I mean, multiples louder than it should be just from the energy going in. When it matches the amplitude and frequency of the acoustic drive, when the droplet size becomes coherent with the acoustic drive itself, you get stupendous secondary acoustic peaks. It's called constructive interference of shock waves and originating from the oscillating bubbles. And so it's stupendous increases in sound. That seems to me a lot. We got a lot going on here, which is overlapping with our cryptid Bigfoot friends. Thanks for watching. If you've had any experiences with blue mists or blue orbs, feel free to add them to the comments below. I'm always interested to hear your observations too. Take care, and we'll see you later.